The best way to control someone is to make them believe they are in control. This quote captures the essence of psychological manipulation. True control isn't about force, it's about illusion. When people believe they are making their own choices, they lower their defenses. They don't question the influence guiding them. This is a tactic used in persuasion, leadership, and even toxic relationships. It's how manipulators gain power without resistance. The moment someone thinks they are in charge, they stop looking for who really is.
The quickest learner wins every fight before it even begins. Whether it's business, wielding influence, or just navigating life's madness, the one who adjusts and plans ahead is practically unstoppable. Now picture a world where learning doesn't feel like scaling a cliff. What if mastering new skills and strategies clicked into your mind effortlessly, like puzzle pieces snapping perfectly into place, without the endless grind or brain-numbing repetition? Most people approach learning like a form of punishment, cramming information, forcing their minds to digest facts, and then wondering why it all slips away as fast as they try to grasp it. But the true masters, the ones who thrive and conquer, don't just lean on willpower. They don't slog through hoping for a breakthrough. Instead, they condition their minds to absorb knowledge automatically. They create a system where information becomes second nature, where achieving mastery feels as easy as breathing. Today, you're going to glimpse that mindset. Here's the reality check. Most people believe that learning demands brute force. Read more, push harder, and repeat until your brain waves the white flag. But that's the slow track. Your brain wasn't built to memorize every stray fact thrown its way. It's wired to detect patterns, establish habits, and streamline thought processes, so you're not squandering mental energy on the fundamentals. Think about it. You're no longer actively considering how to walk, drive, or read, right? You're not dissecting each step like you did when first learning them. That's because your mind tucked those actions away in its autopilot file, conserving brain power for more complex thinking. Now imagine channeling that same autopilot mode into acquiring new skills, like languages, persuasive techniques, problem solving, strategic maneuvering, or power dynamics. Rather than wrestling with data, your brain would naturally absorb it, make connections, and lock it into long-term memory, all without resistance. That's the magic of cognitive automation. It's not about overloading your mind with facts, like cramming a suitcase until it bursts. Instead, it's about conditioning your brain to detect the crucial patterns, forge rapid connections, and organize information so seamlessly that it becomes second nature. The most brilliant individuals don't just accumulate data, they learn intelligently. They create mental shortcuts that let knowledge flow effortlessly, rather than having to be painstakingly retrieved each time. Now imagine if you could train your brain to operate that way too, making learning feel as natural and automatic as if it were part of your very DNA. After all, the avalanche of information isn't going anywhere. The only way to stay ahead is to perfect the art of smart learning, not just hard learning. Consider this. Geniuses don't treat their minds like dusty filing cabinets. They view them as dynamic networks where every connection speeds up learning. Picture your brain as a dense jungle. When you absorb something new, it's like clearing a narrow trail through wild undergrowth. If you never walk that trail again, it disappears. But if you revisit it repeatedly, it transforms into a smooth highway, where ideas travel freely. Savvy thinkers don't merely gather more information, they optimize their thought process by building cognitive shortcuts. To boost your learning speed, first, break information into manageable chunks and seek out patterns instead of isolated facts. Your mind shuns randomness, yet lights up when it identifies structure. For instance, if you're studying negotiation, don't just memorize tactics. Delve into the psychology behind them. Once you internalize the underlying patterns, every new strategy will make immediate sense. Next, solidify your new knowledge by teaching it immediately, whether by speaking it aloud to yourself, writing it down, or imagining how you'd explain it to a novice. Teaching forces your brain to organize and reinforce the information, making it easier to recall later. If you find it difficult to explain without notes, that's a signal you need to simplify your understanding even further. Third, link new ideas to skills you've already mastered. Trying to learn something in isolation is like attempting to complete a puzzle with half the pieces missing. When you attach fresh insights to strengths you already have, like blending persuasive techniques with your storytelling ability or leadership skills, the knowledge becomes ingrained faster, almost as if it's second nature. So whenever you pick up something new, break it into patterns, speak it out loud, or tie it back to what you know. The sooner you build these mental shortcuts, the quicker you'll internalize, recall, and utilize information like a true genius. While many assume intelligence is purely the result of relentless effort, top-tier thinkers allow their minds to carry the load effortlessly. Ever had one of those spontaneous aha moments when a solution just smacks you out of nowhere, like in the shower or just before drifting off to sleep? It's not magic or some divine epiphany. It's your subconscious at work, tirelessly processing information in the background while you're caught up in life. Think of your brain as a powerhouse supercomputer, constantly crunching data behind the scenes. The real secret is figuring out how to make it work for you on autopilot. First step, sleep on it. Seriously, even while you're out cold, your brain's pulling an all-nighter, solidifying neural pathways and weaving connections. Thomas Edison knew this trick. He'd doze off holding steel balls, and the moment he slipped into sleep, they'd drop and wake him up, right when his mind was in peak idea-generating mode. Try it out. Before bed, jot down a problem or a concept you're wrestling with. As soon as you wake up, scribble down your initial thoughts. You'd be surprised how often your subconscious has been working behind the scenes while you slept. Next, feed your brain questions. Instead of trying to force information to stick, give your brain a problem to solve. Nudge it towards smarter thinking rather than harder effort. Challenge it with questions like, how does this relate to what I already know? Or, what's a practical way to apply this in real life? Or throw it a curveball. What happens if I flip this idea upside down? Your brain hates leaving questions unresolved, so it'll keep churning away even when you're not consciously focused on it. Next time you dive into learning something new, don't just absorb. Plant a probing question and let your subconscious simmer on it. And here's the twist: strategic downtime. It might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. Overloading your brain with constant input is like pushing a computer past its limits. It eventually crashes. The best ideas emerge when you stop trying so hard. When you step away, take a walk, meditate, or dive into something completely different. Even Einstein understood this. He'd pick up his violin when physics had him overwhelmed. That little pause allowed his mind to sort and connect ideas without the pressure. So when you feel stuck, ditch the endless scrolling and take a breather. Your brain will handle the rest. Allow your mind the space to breathe, and you'll be amazed at how effortlessly it connects the dots while you just go about your day. Instead of battling against your brain's natural rhythms, use them to your advantage. You'll thank yourself when those breakthroughs start rolling in. Picture this. You take a 10-minute break from the screen and let your brain simmer in the background. Even when you're not actively thinking, it's busy linking ideas. The smartest people don't force themselves to work harder. They work smarter, letting their subconscious do the heavy lifting. Feed your mind the right inputs, use sleep as your secret weapon, and schedule some deliberate downtime. Before long, ideas will pop up faster. Problem solving will seem effortless, and learning will practically run on autopilot. Now let me introduce the Whisper Handbook. This isn't just any book. It's your key to unlocking hidden potential. A guide to mastering the subtle arts of influence, control, and persuasion. It doesn't instruct you to beg for respect or play by the usual rules. Instead, it reveals how to subtly tilt reality in your favor without anyone noticing. If you've ever felt ignored, outplayed, or powerless, that ends right here. Once you dive into this book, you won't merely observe the game. You'll command it. You won't just learn about power, you'll become it. Most people freeze up when faced with growth, and that hesitation keeps them locked in place. But if you're paying attention, you already sense that power is closer than you think. Too many fall into the trap of slow learning, endlessly repeating the same material without truly absorbing it. They reread the same book, consume similar content, or jot down notes they never glance at again. Real mastery doesn't happen through mindless repetition. It's born from experiencing the same concepts through different perspectives until they become ingrained. Think of your brain as a muscle. If you keep lifting the same weight the exact same way, you'll eventually hit a dead end. Change the routine, adjust the angle or the intensity, and suddenly you're getting stronger, faster. Geniuses don't just learn a skill. They immerse themselves from every direction, making it an instinct rather than a chore. Here's how to fast-track your learning with the exposure loop. Start by making daily encounters with the skill unavoidable. Trying to get good at something. Quit dabbling and dive straight in. If your goal is to master persuasion, don't just skim a single book and move on. Completely surround yourself with it. Watch intense debates. Break down how sales experts work their magic. Binge movies where charisma practically drips from the screen. Notice how natural charmers sway opinions with ease. Your brain will unconsciously start piecing the puzzle together. One day, it'll just click. You'll find yourself persuading effortlessly without even thinking about it. Here's your move. Choose that one skill you're dead serious about and immerse yourself entirely. Books, videos, podcasts, conversations. Let it engulf your mind from every direction. Let it dominate your focus until your brain adapts on its own. No brute force required. Now here's a trick many overlook. Vary your learning methods. If you only read about a subject, you're engaging just one pathway. Mix things up. Start with an article, then switch to a video on the same topic. Jot down your thoughts. Then articulate them aloud. Listen to a podcast, and afterward, explain what you learned to someone else. Each approach taps into a different area of your brain, making the knowledge adhere like glue. Next, when you encounter a new concept, interact with it in at least 3 different ways. Read it, listen to it, discuss it, and even teach it. Avoid the trap of endlessly consuming the same type of content. And here's the crucial part: use it or lose it. Your brain is quick to discard information that isn't put to work. You have roughly 24 hours to transform that new skill into something tangible before it slips away. If you can't apply it immediately, at least visualize it. Picture yourself delivering that flawless speech or sealing that important deal. Take a few minutes to write down how you'd use it or explain it out loud. The goal is to signal to your brain that this knowledge is valuable and worth retaining. Here's the reality check. Mastery isn't a magical gift. It comes from repeated exposure. Reading something just once means you'll soon forget it. Practicing in only one way leads to a plateau. But if you continuously challenge your brain from different angles, the process becomes second nature. Top performers don't just learn, they live by what they learn. So, choose your next skill and start weaving it into your daily routine. Your brain will handle the rest. You have the blueprint. Now it's time to put it into action. Imagine cracking the code to thinking faster and mastering any skill without draining your mental energy. While most people grapple with their thoughts and battle to learn, you'll craft mental pathways that let information glide effortlessly through your mind. Instead of resisting your own instincts, you'll train your subconscious to soak up knowledge, even when your conscious mind is on standby. By leveraging the exposure loop, you transform learning from a grind into second nature. This isn't just about picking up speed. It's about reshaping your brain for seamless mastery. While most never even attempt it, if you do, you'll outpace the competition without breaking a sweat. Now picture your next move. Plenty will read these words, feel motivated for a moment, and then slip right back into familiar routines, forgetting every insight by tomorrow. But that's not you. To genuinely stand out, take on this challenge. Start by selecting one skill you've always wanted to conquer, something that would make a tangible difference in your life. Then for 7 days straight, throw yourself into mastering it using the exposure loop. Each day, interact with the skill in at least 3 different ways. Dive into reading, watch insightful videos, jot down personal reflections, explain the concept to someone else, and get hands-on practice. But don't just consume, apply. Within 24 hours of encountering new information, put at least one idea into action. It could be as simple as taking a small step or shifting your mindset. Just make it real. To take it further, end each night by scribbling down a question related to what you're learning, giving your subconscious something to chew on while you sleep. Do this for a week, and watch how quickly your mind starts connecting the dots in ways you never imagined.